All right, gotta admit, we here at Motorcycle.com are a bit spoiled. You see, we don't have to pay for the bikes we ride, we just have to ask for them. So it's no wonder we like KTM Super Dukes and Via Agusta Brutales. There are much more affordable ways to get into a naked sport bike, and we got a trio of them right behind us. They're fast, fun, and fairly affordable, about 8 or 9 grand. We're up here at the Crystal Lake Cafe and had a great morning ride. What's the early impressions?
The ride up here is a lot of fun, a lot of twisty curves. Each bike has something different that it brings to the table. We got a few different CC displacements and a few different handling characteristics as well.
Ryan, how about you? You just came off the Shiver intro, and now you're hopped on the Z900 Kawasaki and the GSX-S750 Suzuki. You've got an Aprilia at home. You're probably predisposed to liking Aprilia again, aren't you?
You know, initially that was kind of my thought, but I hadn't spent as much time on the Suzuki until today, and it's been a lot of fun. I really kind of like the way the brakes feel on the Suzuki more than any of the rest of them, and it's the cheapest bike here. The Aprilia is a lot more open, it's a little more comfortable, and like Brent said, there's a lot of different characteristics through these bikes that make them different and sometimes better.
Yeah, I think this shows that for a relatively cheap price, 8 or 9 grand, you can get a lot of fun out of a motorcycle. Let's talk about what looks cool. What appeals to your eyes? Which bike would you be most proud to pull up at bike night on?
Brent, you're the coolest guy here, so what do you think, man?
Well, thank you. Honestly, I think my pick would lay with the Kawasaki, the Z900. I don't know what it is about it. It's got edgier styling, I guess, compared to the other two bikes. The Aprilia, it's not as angular as the two Japanese bikes. I think it's just meaner looking than the other two as well.
I think I agree with you. Out of these three, my favorite is probably the Z. I like the pop of color with the frames.
It looks the most contemporary, I think, right? It looks cutting edge. And I also just wanted to say one thing just about the differences. The GSX and the Z are pretty close in price if they don't have ABS, $100 apart. The Aprilia goes up to $9,400, and it comes standard with ABS, so you don't have to get an option like on the other bikes. The Aprilia also has the benefit of the TFT thin film transistor dash.
It's a beautiful dash.
Which looks awesome.
Looks great.
And it's the only one of the bunch with compression damping adjustments. The Z has rebound damping adjustments and preload. The GSX-S only has preload and preload. So a little bit different there. I think all of them work pretty good. It's only once you really start pushing them that you can find the distinctions between them, you know?
Yeah, I think so. And like Brent said earlier today, under some really hard braking on the Z, there's some weird handling characteristics, but I think they're all suspended pretty well.
All right, let's stop talking about the bikes and get back on and start riding.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, catch you on the flip side. All right, gentlemen, fantastic day of riding affordable naked sport bikes. There's the hot rod. Here's the classy kind of GT. And here's the do it all, do it well, and has a great intake noise when you get hard on the throttle. I really enjoyed all these bikes. And you know another bike that would be good in this class? Yamaha's FZ9, great 3-cylinder motor. But we couldn't get it at the same time as these bikes and at the same time as the Street Triple S, which is an even better competitor for the FZ9. So stay tuned to Motorcycle.com for that one. Ryan, what do you think? How do they rank up? Are you gonna take one home today?
I'm gonna take one home for sure, because otherwise I'll be stuck out here.
Oh yeah, right.
But if I had to take one home, I mean, do we want to jump right to that? I would take the Kawasaki. I like the extra performance there. That being said, there are things about each bike that work really well. Like I really like the brakes on the Suzuki.
My favorite too.
Absolutely.
The Aprilia, when you go to initially squeeze on the brakes, you really have to give it a firm squeeze and the braking power is there, but it doesn't have the initial bite that the Suzuki has. And I think the ABS on the Kawasaki comes in a little too early. I do think the Kawasaki is probably the best all-around package in my eyes. It's a really low seat height, and that's nice for shorter riders and people getting into it. But I think just about anyone, I'm 5'8", and I would rather they have an accessory seat that raises it an inch. I would rather have that because it's going to make your legs less crunched up.
Me too. That's the one ergonomic weird part of all three of these bikes is the short seat to peg ratio there, right?
Absolutely.
I think if I had to spend 500 miles on one of these bikes, this seat would treat me the best. That Kawasaki's low seat, that's not very well padded, but this one feels like almost Goldwing plush.
One thing I really did like about the Suzuki is that it makes good power even though it doesn't show it on the dyno sheet, and especially up here in the hills. As long as you can keep it up in the revs, it's perfectly happy keeping up with any other displacement bike.
Well, it did show up on the dyno sheet compared to this one, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that was 115, this one's just about 100.
Almost 100.
And this one just over 80 or so, right? So it's a 900 or 896cc V-twin, so it's actually got quite a bit of torque. It's close to the Z900 in that regard, but it does peter out on top. And so if you keep the revs up on the Suzuki, you'll stay ahead of this. But the Aprilia, to me, if you were a person who wasn't looking for as much sport, I think this might be an excellent choice. It's got the broadest passenger seat area. It's got the only one with real grab handles instead of those seat straps that I always hate and don't encourage my passengers to grab onto. It's got the awesome TFT dash. It's got fully adjustable suspension and the ride-by-wire throttle, so you got a couple different ride modes to access as well. This costs a little bit more, $9,400 to the 88 of the Z900 with ABS, and because it's Italian and it's got these cool steel trellis frame with the aluminum side plates, I could make a good value proposition for the Aprilia too. Would you give the agility award to the Kawasaki or the Suzuki?
I think I would probably give it to the Suzuki. I feel like it turns in quicker. It's just less input that you have to force into this bike. You don't need to push this one as much as you do either one of those.
Seriously, if we were out here on R6s and CBR 600s, would we have had more fun than these?
I don't think so.
I don't know, yeah.
I don't think so. If you had to pick just one of these bikes, which one?
The Z900.
How about you, Brent?
Me too. My nod goes to the Z900.
Somebody to bring along on a ride, I think I'd choose the Aprilia. I think it's a cool bike and I'd put up with the extra weight and a little bit extra money. But if I'm riding by myself, I gotta go for the Z2. 115 rear wheel horsepower, thing does second gear wheelies, which I've exploited several times today. And yeah, it just puts the biggest grin on my face. But for the full story, please go to Motorcycle.com, read everything. We got specs, dyno charts and all that stuff. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like us. Put a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to always go back to Motorcycle.com because we got all kinds of good stuff right there.